The Tricks of Environment. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Breathe. What's Wrong with the World? By G.K. Chesterton. Part 4, Chapter 3, The Tricks of Environment. After all the modern clatter of Calvinism, therefore, it is only with the born child that anybody dares to deal. And the question is not eugenics, but education. Or again, to adopt that rather tiresome terminology of popular science, it is not a question of heredity, but of environment. I will not needlessly complicate this question by urging at length that environment also is open to some of the objections and hesitations which paralyze the employment of heredity. I will merely suggest, in passing, that even about the effect of environment, modern people talk much too cheerfully and cheaply. The idea that surroundings will mold a man is always mixed up with a totally different idea that they will mold him in one particular way. To take the broadest case, landscape no doubt affects the soul, but how it affects it is quite another matter. To be born among pine trees might mean loving pine trees. It might mean loathing pine trees. It might quite seriously mean never having seen a pine tree. Or it might mean any mixture of these, or any degree of any of them. So that the scientific method here lacks a little in precision. I am not speaking without the book. On the contrary, I am speaking with the blue book, with the guidebook, and the atlas. It may be that the Highlanders are poetical because they inhabit mountains, but are the Swiss prosaic because they inhabit mountains? It may be the Swiss have fought for freedom because they had hills. Did the Dutch fight for freedom because they hadn't? Personally, I should think it quite likely. Environment might work negatively as well as positively. The Swiss may be sensible, not in spite of their wild skyline, but because of their wild skyline. The Flemings may be fantastic artists, not in spite of their dull skyline, but because of it. I only pause on this parenthesis to show that, even in matters admittedly within its range, popular science goes a great deal too fast, and drops enormous lengths of logic. Nevertheless, it remains the working reality that what we have to deal with, in the case of children, is, for all practical purposes, environment, or to use the older word, education. When all such deductions are made, education is, at least, a form of will worship, not the cowardly fact worship. It deals with a department that we can control. It does not merely darken us with the barbarian pessimism of Zola and the heredity hunt. We shall certainly make fools of ourselves. That is what is meant by philosophy. But we shall not merely make beasts of ourselves, which is the nearest popular definition for merely following the laws of nature and cowering under the vengeance of the flesh. Education contains much moonshine, but not of the sort that makes mere mooncalves and idiots the slaves of a silver magnet, the one eye of the world. In this decent arena there are fads, but not frenzies. Doubtless we shall often find a mare's nest, but it will not always be the nightmares. End of The Tricks of Environment. Recording by Breathe, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.